Hey, we are going live. We are live. Cool. This is Ann White, founder of the Creating Calm Network and co-host of Notes from Spirit. And I'm here with Nadya Schubert, who I describe as a spirit scribe. She goes into a complete trance and through automatic writing comes up with, they're always about a page. She does it at her computer, and these are sometimes compelling, sometimes informative notes from spirit for how to live in our material world. So Nadya, good morning. You're coming to us from St. Petersburg, Florida, or from Transylvania.
Well, at least it's not swampland anymore. It's a very nice 70 degrees, humidity. I don't know what the humidity is, but coming back from San Diego after a week, it feels really good because I thought my face was going to crack.
Oh, yeah.
There's no humidity there, very, very little. So I never realized until I go away how much humidity makes a difference in not showing all the little lines and wrinkles.
Yeah. Well, you just look beautiful. And we have a note from Spirit today about obsession. And I think that's a great topic. So why don't we go ahead and start with our note, and then we'll discuss it.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Life can be filled with obsessions. Those little things one seems to focus on without realizing that they are. In the beginning, it may be a focus on a small point in your day, and if that point is not resolved, may begin to increase in the number of times you focus on it. And as you are doing this, you may not even realize you are, and if you finally do realize you are, you wonder why. Why is it so important to focus intensely or obsess about something that will ultimately not make any big changes in your life, unless you let it? Usually obsessions seem to be about things that have either not happened yet or are in the midst of the happening, when you feel you are not in control, that you are not able to direct the situation as it is either premature or just beginning and it finally ends. You forget it as if it never happened. Why is that? What brings that on? Why can you not feel comfortable enough to allow things to expand as they were meant to? What after you do all that you can do to set those things in motion in the best way you could, why does one take the time and use the energy to allow themselves to get carried away by the smallest things? Things that usually never happen, and if they do, work themselves through to the end, resulting in ways different than your concerns. And as you feel the need to focus so intensely time after time after time, do you not feel more frustrated and thrown off balance than you normally are? For you have added an extra path of thought into your practice of thoughts, taking up the little bit of room for thought you had left. Do you not notice these thoughts of uncomfortability when you focus come on much before the happening is to occur, lingering each and every day until it is erased by the experience of the happening, which has gone the way it was supposed to? Do you not feel that thinking about the minutiae of life is going to matter? And if so, in what way? Perhaps one should begin to allow yourself to give up the obsession, for that is only a stumbling block for you, and watch the happening take place as it unfolds in the way it was destined to do. And then can you imagine yourself going with that flow of unfolding, of the birthing of an unknown factor in your life, giving it the liberty to be what it was supposed to be? Can you allow yourself to give yourself permission to let Spirit help you to guide you through those obsessions, quelling them as they begin so that you may glide through your day feeling lighter and brighter than you normally would when held down by your obsession? Try to remember that all the happenings that occur in your life, whether daily, weekly, or longer, are designed to bring you comfort in growing into your own higher awareness, releasing the need to focus and living in the moment of each happening, walking through it, feeling how right it is, how right it feels, how much you have learned from your experience, and how much happier you feel. developing a new desire to want to be free of your need to obsess, and open to all that comes to you in a more accepting and loving way, whether it be people, places, or things. All the components in the material world. Understanding that once you begin to recognize and feel the changes in living your life, you will have taken a giant leap closer to the knowing. And of course, we are always here to hear your words and sense your feelings, bringing only love and respect for all that you are, within and without. We are here for you always. Now that's very odd because I paused at that point and I was almost starting to go into a zone, and then I had to pull myself back in. So the way I spoke this one sentence was trying to pull me back. Yeah, I was trying to pull myself back in. I noticed that for the first time. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I could hear it in your voice that you were zoning, so I was going to make a note of that. During the reading even, I could hear you were getting into the zone. I thought it was interesting that they ended, "We are here for you always." That's not quite. What was your first book was called what?
We are with always with love.
With love. Okay. So it was very similar to that first kind of line. We are with you always with love, right? And this is, we are here for you always. So I think it's comforting to know, or they also say, we hear your thoughts, we hear your words, and we're here to guide you. What was your thought on this with obsession?
Well, I wonder myself, because it seems that, I don't know if it's just getting older or if it's something. I really don't think it is getting older, because I know many young people are also obsessed. Yeah. And with the smallest things that are really so unimportant, and dealing with the big things as if water flowing through them.
Yeah.
So it's like the big things you can handle, but the little things are the irritant in some way. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand that myself. But I am very similar to what I was writing in certain areas. I mean, it's the little tiny things. And like I said, it's when you don't have the control, or you feel you lost the control. So do you handle bigger things?
What was interesting to me is this seems like it talks about a pre-event obsession. In other words, something's about to happen and you're obsessing over it. Doesn't it sound like it's a pre-event?
It's a pre-event.
Yeah, and for me, I was thinking most of my obsessions, I have two different kinds, but one is a post-event, like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have said that. Darn, I wonder what they thought about what I said. And I will take a sentence or a little thing that happened. You know, did I roll my eyes at the wrong point? You know, and it's a post-event thing that I will just fuss over, and probably nobody else even noticed it. So one of my obsessions that I do is a post-event, where I overthink something that already happened. And, you know, this reading still applies to that in the sense of, let it go. It was supposed to be that way.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, you let it. You get involved at the end, and I'm involved more in the beginning. So, which one has the more need for control?
Yeah, no, I think they both are a matter of control. So that's why I think this reading still applies to me. But yes, I think you fuss or obsess over something that's going to happen.
That's going to happen.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
Mine is.
And it's really an unknown factor, because sometimes it doesn't even happen.
No.
And then I sit there and I wasted all this energy for nothing, because it doesn't even happen, or it turns out to be a great experience, like nothing I ever thought would happen. It's like when you meet someone and you know, you kind of like get a feeling for them, or you think you do, and you know you might not like that person, and then you're forced into like sitting next to her and talking to her, or whatever the case might be, and it turns out that you really like this person. So I don't know if it's a feeling of control or not having control, or a feeling of inadequacy, or feeling that you're not good enough, or something along those lines, where we're always measuring ourselves with a ruler on every single thing we do, you know?
Yeah, I think that is very true. And I also was trying to think too, it might be with this kind of message of Spirit saying, we got it, we got your back, you know, it's going to be okay. You know, in that sense. So whether it's kind of a control thing, but it's also just knowing that if we can just allow things to unfold, they'll be the way they should have been in the natural, you know, the higher awareness, our higher good.
Well, and we have to accept that. Like I had certain situations that were going on this past week, and I had to walk away from it, and then I had to learn to breathe, and then I had to learn to say, this is the way it's going to be. I can do this. It's not something bad. It's just something uncomfortable or something I don't want to do. But in the realm of life, this is nothing.
Yeah.
It's really unimportant and meaningless. And
Nobody's reading.
Right. And so what does it mean that I don't, for some reason, stand out, or I don't have control, or, no one wants to listen to what I have to say, or whatever it is, the key, it's always us, about us. And really, it's not about us. It's about everything else coming together around us. We're just one little piece, a little component in the whole thing. We are not the whole thing. That was my thought as I took a long walk one night. We are not this whole thing. There's a lot around us, a lot more people, a lot more situations. So once you begin to grow in your thoughts and accept what's coming through, it's a more comfortable feeling. Mm-hmm. But you have to go to that point. You have to be able to turn that switch and say, okay, what is this all about? Do I really want to know, or am I going to just walk around miserable? So you have to be aware that you have choices.
Right. You have choices to create your reality, but also, if you go with the flow, your reality will create itself. So you might as well just enjoy the ride.
And sometimes it's nice to have that kind of change, even though I don't like it in the beginning, because it's something new in my life. Mm-hmm. And it makes an interesting day. If I look back on it now, it's a very interesting day. I just don't appreciate it at the time. So for me, after the fact, hello, Riley.
Riley stuck in my pocket.
For me, after the fact is coming to a positive conclusion about the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning is where I'm frustrated, and for you, it's questioning at the end. Could I, would I have done better? Blah blah blah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when the key is letting it go. When you think of obsession, the other kind of obsession I will get is something that I think I need. And I obsess over that I think I need this. So it's kind of a humorous thing, so I'll share it with you. I thought I needed chicken boots because I have chickens. And I needed the proper kind of shoe to have chickens. So I was trying all these shoes. I'm ordering shoes. I'm sending them back. I needed the perfect chicken boot. And then I was in my basement yesterday, and I realized I have chicken boots. And I think Spirit was finally saying, here they are. Just stand down on the damn chicken boots. But right. I had myself into an obsession that I thought I needed chicken boots, and I didn't, and I already had them anyway. So I think I could almost hear Spirit going, she's finally found the chicken boots. Now let her get on with living. So I was really obsessing over that, and really, you don't need chicken boots. You can wear any kind of shoes if you have chickens. But
that's why obsession perfume is so popular.
Yeah.
Everybody's obsessed with something.
Different things, yeah. I think when you're connected to Spirit, you obsess less. Do you?
Yeah, I think that when I really go to that point of being consciously aware that Spirit's around me, and I actually ask them to help me to get through this, I'm releasing it to them in my own way, and letting it go. Just letting it go. And that feels good. But like I said again, you have to be in that point of that place to know that you can do this. You have to pull yourself back and stand away from everything, more or less, for me, and look at it and say, do I want to continue going like this, or something to turn you around, to turn you to the place. You've got to
realize that you're doing it for what?
Right, and you're in it, because sometimes you don't even realize you're in it. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking for triggers all the time now, not to stay in it, to get out. And how do I do that? And sometimes for me, it's separating from the group, walking away from everything, which is whatever it is, and taking deep breaths. And then as soon as I do that, it seems like I'm asking myself the question, do I really want to go through this for the rest of the evening or the rest of the week? I mean, it's ridiculous. Why waste the energy? And I have this whole thing coming through like a whoosh, and I'm done.
And really, Nadya, I think by separating from the group or taking deep breaths, what you're really doing is opening to Spirit and allowing that wish wish, to come in and just to give you a spirit download.
Yeah.
Because one of the things this reading says is that we should allow ourselves to give ourselves permission to let spirit help guide us through these obsessions, quelling them as they begin, so that you can glide through your day feeling lighter and brighter. And one of the things we've talked about before is when we are allowing spirit to open doors or lead the way, there is a feeling of lightness and a feeling of brightness. But I like that they say give yourself permission to let spirit help, because I think part of the human condition is our bullheadedness, that I can do it myself.
Being a Taurus?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I can do it all. I don't need anybody.
Right.
And that's where I've always been.
Yeah. So I think that was the key, giving yourself permission, and that's what you did last week when you either went away from the group or when you did some breathing. You gave yourself permission to let go of the obsession and then receive a spirit download.
And I'm wondering if these are brought to me for specific reasons, or, I don't believe in coincidences. So these have to be part of my growth process. And they have to be part of my being able to connect with spirit on a conscious level, because I've always poo-pooed it, because the only way I ever connect with them is writing. But I now understand, after this last episode that I went through, that I can connect with spirit on a conscious level. And they do seem to envelop my space and just pull that energy away. It felt like, because I felt much lighter immediately. I returned to the house feeling nothing the way I left, ready to go back into the groove of everything that was going on. So that was a big aha for me. This is not just coincidental. These things don't just happen, that they happen for your growth, to bring you closer to the knowing, or to be more productive and progressive in your life, and not wasting time and fretting over things that make no difference. They won't change or make any difference in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's interesting, because for me, I connect all the time through just an opening. I'll do a breath, I'll ask, but I forget that you connect mostly through your writings. I'm aware of your writings,
right.
But I forgot that this is not your normal way to connect. Whereas for me, I'll just take a breath and, turn everything over and get my connection going. So that's pretty cool that you were able to feel that, just to feel the downloads when you just took your breath like that or got away from the group.
Yeah. And I think it really is all designed for you to come closer to knowing. All these things are brought to you so that you can start developing yourself on a higher level, and knowing what's important and what isn't to your health, your happiness, your emotional stability, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this happens to people that are younger, or is it happening as people get older. The more people I talk to that are of my age group seem to be feeling those things, and didn't when they were younger. Mm-hmm. I guess we had too much to do when we were younger, where we didn't have the time to take all that in. I don't know.
Although I do think younger people are connecting, because I think it's okay that we start talking about it. There was a time when you and I were coming up where if we started talking about the vibrational energy or spirit coming in, I would pop light bulbs, we talked about that, or break anything electric, you'd be a nut. Whereas nowadays we're getting more aware, even scientists are more aware of the fact that we're all interconnected, we're all made of the same stuff. It's not so odd to think that when our body dies, our spirit continues, because we know that there's energy in us, and energy can't be killed or die. So I think we're coming into a time of more awareness. So I think young people are also being able to connect, and we're aware of indigo children, kids who are born with the knowing, and
right.
sometimes hold on to it for quite a while.
Yeah, I wish I was one of those kids. Well, it wasn't nurtured. See, that's what happens too sometimes. If it's not nurtured, it dissipates for a while. It doesn't come back till maybe later. But I was beginning to wonder about when I was younger and I would talk to people about how I felt about things, I didn't realize that they didn't understand because it never happened to them. I was a kid and I'd tell them something that I saw or felt or knew, and they'd look at me like, "Are you kidding? Where are you coming from?" They didn't get it at all. And that made me feel very out of the loop, like something was weird about me.
Didn't you speak to somebody on the other side, Nadya, when you were younger? Was there someone?
Well, I had people, when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, I used to go in my closet, close the door, and shards of light would come through, like shards of, it looks like glass shards of light in different colors. I got the chills talking about it. And I would talk to the colors, and I began to realize that these colors were not only indicative of energy, but it was from a different place of life. It was from another galaxy. Yeah. And so I used to talk to those people a lot, and they could calm me down. Now, whether it was in my imagination that this was a different planet, or if it's just spirit at that time, I really don't know. That it might have been spirit coming to me, and for some reason I thought of a different planet. But it made me feel very good, and it made me feel that I was part of a bigger thing that most people knew. Otherwise, I would feel very, strange. How could I know these things and no one else doesn't?
Right. And then when you try to talk to your parents about it, they're going to tell you,
"Oh my God,
stop saying things like that."
I told you, my mother sent me to a psychiatrist. And when the psychiatrist interviewed me, he said, "Okay, it was nice meeting you. Have your mom call me. Have your mother call me." And he wanted her to come in. I thought that was great. But yeah, I think that I've probably always been connected in some way. It's just that it was never nurtured, and I'm sorry that it wasn't, because I probably could have gone a lot further in my life if it had been nurtured. But my parents didn't understand it either. How could they nurture, Only my friends that were the hippies, that traveled around to the communes and lived there, they had no problem with all this. None whatsoever. And even their parents were kind of like them. So, but that was a rarity in my day, for the parents to be very connected to those kinds of kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy time, but I think that we're getting more and more connected. And, for this reading, anybody who's watching us, it's a reading from the summer. So I said to Nadya for this show, because she didn't write on Sunday, pick something, just reach in the pile and pick something. And I thought it was interesting, because I knew whatever you picked would be the right reading. And you picked on an obsession, and it's interesting that you had just come off from a week where you were out of control of a situation. You weren't out of control, but you had no control over the situation, which made it a very uncomfortable week. So I thought, see, I knew they were going to pick the right one for us to talk about today.
That's funny. Yeah, that's a whole big file. I just went to that one. Yeah. I didn't even read it until this morning. Okay, here we go. It works. Okay. Thank you, Spirit.
Well, thank you, Nadya, for sharing your writings. I'm glad that, in a sense, you have been chosen to be a spirit scribe. I think it's something you fight sometimes, because it's not always a comfortable thing. But the fact that you sit with spirit once a week and do these writings, so I thank you for sharing them with us. And for anyone who is interested and would like to know more, Nadya has published 3 of her books of writings. The 2 earlier ones are We Are With You Always with Love, and We Are Truth, We Are Love, We Are You. They're gentle invitations to come into spirit. And then we jumped over some of the writings to do a more current or contemporary group of writings, and that one's called Notes from Spirit. And that's more compelling, where spirit is almost trying to shake us to say, listen, humans, we got some stuff we need you to learn. And the next group, that's soon to be a book, is even more where spirit is almost breaking it down to say, okay, let me take you by the hand, and like a primer. So it'll be exciting to put that next book together with you, Nadya.
I think that, I don't know if it was they or them that found a need for these writings to be done, and hopefully, we are filling it together, and that it brings joy to those who read the books, or more awareness that'll bring them joy to read, when they read these books. And I know they're not the average book. I know that, it is almost like a primer. It's almost like taking, Spirit 101, because it's not one of these books you can't wait to finish. It's something you really have to go over and over and over again sometimes. But once you get it, it's very enlightening. That's all I can say. Very enlightening.
Well, let me thank you for this day and for sharing this note. We'll see you next in 2 weeks to do another note from Spirit. And enjoy the beautiful weather in St. Petersburg. It's a chilly day in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. So,
thank you, Ann.
Yeah, take care. And anyone who wants to see more of our programming, first of all, for Nadya, you can find her at www.notesfromspirit.creatingcalmnetwork.com. And to see all of our programs, it would be at creatingcalmnetwork.com. So we look forward to you watching our broadcasts, listening to our radio shows. We are about holistic and healthy lifestyles and living. And join us for the ride. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.